Hi, friends. Welcome back. This is Solomon Jagwe. Thank you so much for joining me again for another new hindsight, insight, and mini tutorial. So, I've been digging into the Unreal Engine, and so recently they released 4.26, and one of the features that caught my eye was the new water feature. Okay, and this is really, really, really cool, guys. Wait until you see. I'm gonna start from scratch so I can walk you through how to implement it. Of course, I had to go through and look at a lot of videos just to see how was this working. So it's still in beta, and I know it's gonna come out probably in the newer versions later on and becomes until it becomes official. It's still in a beta testing, but even in the beta testing mode version, it's pretty powerful. Okay, so I'm gonna go through in Unreal. I downloaded 4.26. Let's see right here, and I'm the reason why I actually jumped onto this using these features because there's a short film that I'm working on called They See You, and it's directed by Siobhan, a fellow Ugandan. And so I wanted to implement a river running through one of the scenes that we're working on. So I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And in the past, I've tried to do like water simulation using 3ds Max and to do rivers like this little test that I did some time back. This was 3ds Max 2013. So I was like, okay, should I go back and use 3ds Max for this part? And I was like, let me look into 4.26. And then this came out. Like when sometimes a feature comes out right in when you need it. This one showed up right when I needed it. And I was like, thank you, Epic Games, because this is it made my shot so much better. And that's why I wanted to share with you how to set it up. Okay, so let's get started. First, we go into this set that I've put together. So I have a material and something to keep just as a heads up. The water feature is compatible with the landmass. So you have to create a landscape, okay, in order for it to work. If you can't just put it on a like a terrain that you've modeled like Cinema 4D or like Maya or 3ds Max. It has to use the built-in landscape mode inside of the Unreal Engine. And so for starters, I've created this material. It has three materials that have normal maps with them. And I want to be able to paint different layers on the terrain because I want to show you how it looks like once you put the river in and how you can add like little things. And I downloaded the tropical pack, the free tropical jungle pack. I'm gonna be using that to put together this scene. And please, I'm so excited. I can't wait to show you. Okay, let's get started. First, let's minimize this. So I'm starting with a blank like scene because I want you to see like how it comes together. All right. So first, switch to landscape mode. Okay. And right now I have, let's see. So the one that I'm creating is gonna be 2x2 sections, 8, 12. I just want it to be high res. So if you want something low res, you can go with 1x1 section. I want something high res so I can actually paint on it and do like different, like cliffs and like banks on the river. All right, and I'm using the 127 by 127 quads. Again, depending on how much memory you have or how powerful your machine is, go ahead and feel free and go all the way to like 255. But just keep in mind that your machine is gonna kind of chug along. All right, and I don't want to fill the world just yet. Okay, I just want to use just this section here because if I fill the world, it's gonna slow down the progress. All right, and these are the layers that I have, and by default it's gonna be empty, so it will look like something like this. Okay, so the material info here, I make sure I choose that layer because that is the material that we created, and also I'm gonna use for the grass layer info, and also for the rocks. I'm being very specific to add like these layers so that I can use them to paint. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and then create. I'll probably do a different tutorial for the material because that's a more in-depth tutorial. But for now, let's just use what I've already created here and fill the world. Not fill the world, sorry. Create the landscape. Create. Again, depending on how fast your machine is, it's gonna take a little bit of time if your machine is very fast and you have plenty of memory, or it might take a long time. So just keep that in mind. All right. So the material that I created, you notice that the tiling is on like blended nicely. So that's another tutorial that I want to do for because the first time you create a material in Unreal, it kind of comes in like really tiled and looks like repeating. You can see the repeating patterns. So there's a way to go around it. Okay. And as you can see, this is I can come all the way to the ground and you can see all the detail. Nice cool details. Then I'm going to be able to create different layers. So first, let me create rename this to ground, like this is the ground. Okay, and then I'm going to right click and create another layer. I'm going to call this rename. I'm going to call it the rocks, and then I'll create another layer. Right click and create another layer. Right click and rename. I'll call this grass. Okay, so we have our material set up and our train set up, and I'm gonna just do a quick test so you can see, you know, how the layers are working together. So first on the ground layer, this one, I'm gonna drop it down to 0.1. Okay, because I want when I paint on top of the other layers, I want to show. Oh, hold up. Let me back up a little bit, and I'm glad I made this mistake, so you all can see how it's done. Let me delete this landscape layer again, make sure I'm starting from scratch. Let's go back to landscape mode. Okay, and make sure the layers are enable edit layer is checked. Please do that. I forgot to point that out. Make sure that is checked. Okay, and then go ahead and create the layer. Okay, so here we go. All right, and so now we can start painting. Okay, so if you want to paint, you gotta switch to the paint mode over here, and I'll go ahead and right click and rename this to ground. Okay, right click, create another one. Right click, rename, call this rocks. Right click, rename. No, sorry, right click, create another one. I'll call this grass. Right click, rename, grass. Okay, so we have our 3 grass layers, and again, I'm gonna drop this down to 0.1. Okay, so now I have the different layers that I need to paint. So for the grass layer, because I've dropped this 2.1, now I can go in and select grass, and I can paint the grass over here. Okay, that is for that grass layer. And then I can also, let me drop the rocks to 0.1. Okay, so that's how I'll be able to paint the grass. Okay, and then now I can go to the rocks layer over here. Let's drop this in 0.1 for a second. I want to see this one, and then I'm gonna actually make the grass one as well, so I can point. Okay, so we're gonna paint the rocks, and as you can see, I'm able to paint that material on another layer on top. So that will be the banks of the river. Okay, that's the material that I'm going to be using for the banks of the river, and I'll be able to paint the grass over here. So let's go to the water material. So we have, this is really like kind of flat, so I'm going to create like some kind of environment real quick. But before I do that, make sure you go to settings, plugins, and built-in, and look for water. Okay, make sure you enable the water plugin right here. Make sure those are checked, and then restart your project so that it's working. That's very important. Okay, I'm just gonna close that. All right, now I'm gonna paint, I'm gonna sculpt. Let's create some hills. around the environment. So increase our total strength. Sorry, uh, strength to like 1. I want to be able to sculpt and increase the brush size so we can have brush fall off just a tiny bit like that. All right. And right now I'm using the smooth, but you can also do linear and also the tip. I like using this one because it kind of gives me that rugged like edge like that. All right, so we want our lake and the river to be in the center here. So I'm gonna just build this up real quick. And if something becomes jagged, you can always switch to the smooth tool right here, and that will smooth out the jaggedness. Okay, so we're here. We want let me increase this a little bit more because this is going to be a jungle environment. And the idea again is to have the river flow like from here, come here, all this way, and then have the lake in the middle right here. Okay, so we can go crazy, but for now, I just want to have like an enclosure of sorts. And you see how it's jagged right there? I can go in and click the smooth button and just smooth it a little bit like that. And also here as well. Okay, and you can also just reduce the brush and just... All right, so we have the layout of our landscape. Now it's time for the magic. Okay, so first let's just go. We switch out of this mode and we'll come back to beautify this. I'm just gonna do the river and then we can build around the river. All right, go to select mode. Okay, make sure our terrain is selected, and then we're gonna add the river, sorry. Type in water up at the top here. So we're gonna start with the lake first, and then we'll bring in the river. So the body of water, just drag it over here, and you can see it has like a spline that it put in the interface. Okay, so look at that, guys. Yeah, so we have our lake already in place, and that's not even just the half of it. You're gonna see what I mean. Okay, so we have and you can actually right click and add a spline, and then you can move it around and then click on one of these, and let's just readjust that, and then click on this. Let's move it a little bit over here. So we have our lake, and when you go down you can actually see how beautiful it is. You know, it has like waves and all that. So it's a tiny lake, but we want to add a river as well. So we're going to bring in our river. All right, so we have our body of river here. Make sure the landscape is selected, and river. So we'll put over here. Okay, start there. This is a cool part. Okay, so we're gonna move this part. Let's just move the river over here for a second, and we're gonna you can see how cool it does. Like it blends with the lake real cool. All right, zoom in a little bit. Let's bring it and connect it to the river. And look how nicely it blends with the lake. That is what's really neat. So now the water is flowing. It's, I'm telling you, this is really, 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 really cool. Okay, so we can add some more splines in here. And also we can, over in the details on this, on the right hand side, you can adjust how wide that the river is at any given point. And so now really the challenge is just to beautify it, is to make sure that your river flows around your terrain. And we can just take it that one over there, add a few more splines. And move this over here a little bit. And because these are busy curves, you can also control it with the curves, and you can rotate. See that? So that is what's really cool. So I mean, I remember when I used to do like simulations for water, for the water. To be able to do this in real time is really cool, you know. And what's really neat is, like, for example, here when the water is going around the bend, I can literally increase the velocity of that water so that it speeds up, you know, just like that. And so you're able to follow along, the river is able to flow along the direction of the, so, and right now, I mean, you can see that I made the water come from the lake going this way, but you could also have it in the reverse, whereby the water, the river is feeding the lake. So depending on which part you connect with the lake, it can have like a different effect in where you are. So this is what I wanted to share with you, is that they've added this really cool feature that I think we should definitely take advantage of. All right, now that we're here, we can also actually lower, you can lower the river so it can dig into the terrain, and you can actually see how it created that dip like that. So now you can put like rocks and whatever over here. So if we like this shot, for example, now I can go in and start painting. So we can go back to our landscape, go to the landscape mode, and now we can do the painting that I was talking about earlier on. Let me reduce the size of the brush a little bit more, like maybe like around there. So now I can pick a layer that I want, for example, for the rocks layer. Let's go to the rocks. See, the water has its own layer right here. So let's go ahead and paint, switch to paint. Pick the material that I want to paint, so for the rocks. And now I can paint along the side of the, and maybe I need to do the brush fall off like that. So, and this is just a quick demo, but if with time, you can imagine how you can make this look really good and look like this is wet around the edges, like by the banks of the river, like that, all the way. And I don't even need to go over there, just demonstrating here. So this makes it look like the river has made the banks of the banks wet. Okay, and then over on the slopes, I can switch to my grass layer, and I can paint the grass over here. And as you can see, it's coming together nicely. This is really cool. And I mean, to be able to do this in real time, is what's really, 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 really impressive. And I can't say how happy, and I can't say enough how happy I am to say that I love working in the Unreal Engine. It's incredible. I love all these new tools that are coming in, and I know this is still in beta. It's a better version of it. And by the way, I think I need to, because this one will come back and change it a little, because the water is going upriver like that. But that is cool. I mean, you can have like a fantasy kind of river. Okay. And let me see. Do I have, where is our light. Let's see if we can actually play with some lighting in here. Okay. We need, do I have a direct light? Yep, no, we don't have a direct light. So we're gonna get out of the sculpting. Now, you can go crazy. You can just continue painting and make this as beautiful as you want. Just this was just a quick demo to show you, what's possible. And the more layers you have on the new materials, you can have more options to paint with. So we have our river going through the center there, connected to a lake over here, and then I can even connect an ocean if I want, use it in the as another option. But for now, I just wanted to point out this. So let's do something cool. Let's add some light in here. I'm gonna switch modes to select mode, and we're gonna close this out. We need some light. I need a directional light. Do I have a directional light? Yes, I do. Actually, I do. Let's rotate it. Let's bring up the... We need some like kind of shadows. Maybe it's coming from that direction. Like that. And we can increase the brightness a little bit more. Okay, and we have our volumetric clouds going, which is pretty cool. And now you can see some of the reflections on. And the cool thing is that you can even go underwater. Watch this. So the materials that I have, so you could literally paint like rocks underneath here, and that will give it even a better look and feel. But overall, I mean, you have a river that what's really cool is that it's editable, that you can still add nodes to it, to that you can move around, and you can see how it's affecting the terrain. So whichever parts that you've painted, just keep in mind that if you move the river, you may have to repaint that part. And if the corner is too steep, you can move it a little bit, and we can even change. Let's increase this a little, resize this, the width, so you can make it like narrow, so that is the reason why it's speeding up. It's like picking up speed over there, and it just keeps going and going and going. Okay, so let's add some trees and some rocks. We'll go to the tropical jungle pack, and let's bring up the meshes over here. So we got some rocks. Let's start with this one. Let's put it on the bank of the river here. So now this, we're just doing set building really. And just add another one, make this one big, scale it. And we can even rotate it a little bit. And we add another one maybe over here. And let's get some trees. It's big, get a big one like this guy right here. So if this is going to be like a jungle kind of environment, we can just keep adding trees. This is really, 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 really cool. On the banks of the River Nile. And maybe I should do like the River Nile. That would be really cool, like in Egypt, and connect to like in Uganda. That would be really cool. So again, trees really just exist. So you may want to paint some like plants over here and some more plants over here, So I'm just showing you how easy it is to create like some kind of environment that you can put together real quick with just these assets that you can find on the marketplace. I'll put another rock over here. And these are all techniques that I was able to employ in the short film that I'm working on because of the Unreal Engine. And to be able to render this real fast is really what I think gives me excitement, about the Unreal Engine, because you want to be able to create shots as quickly as possible, but to be able to actually get good shots that are rendered inside using the Unreal Engine is it's another benefit to it. So there's a river going around the bend. We can add some more rocks over here. Just add, interest. And I always tend to rotate the rocks a little bit so it doesn't always look like it's the same rock. So, I mean, just as a starting point, you can see how well this is coming together. Given time, you can definitely just populate this entire place. You can paint, with trees and everything, but sometimes first, I think for me, it helps to first block out, the different sets. Let's put a nice rock right here and maybe another one back there. And let's try this one. Big rock. So that is the beauty of Unreal Engine and the new feature, the water feature that they've added. Which one can we add? Maybe this one, a tree. So can do one like right here. And next to that, we can put a nice rock. Oops, negative scale. This is coming together nicely. You put another click right there. So now it's really just an artistic choice, like how do you want your environment on your river to look like? But as you can see, it's already coming together. Okay. And I can add some plants. So we can go to the foliage mode and let's go to plants over here and find some nice green plants, I think. Let's see, which one can we use? Let's put this one there and maybe that one and like a fan of some kind. All right. And now we can paint. Just this is really, really crazy. And I'm just like thinking, there was a time when, these were all things that were very difficult for me to implement, but being able to just do this and paint in real time is just really, really cool, guys. I don't know about you guys, but we're not gonna paint on the water. We just need on the banks of the. No, not on the rock. All right. A little bit of that. Maybe over here. So you can see the river coming together nicely. And the fact that even after you do all this, you can still edit the river is what's really, really, really cool. And there is a shot that you can, do like a nice animation, like a camera fly through. But I mean, or just for starters, you can see how this has come together in just a short period of time. It's been like 30 minutes, but take a look at that. You have your lake over there, and then you have the river coming out of it. And I can even let's get out of this paint mode. and select the river. So where is that's the lake. This is the river. Right click, add a point, and adjust the width. And then we can even move the rocks a little bit more now. So take a look at that, guys. In just a short period of time, using the new river, the water system that they've added in 4.26, I'm able to add a river, a lake, add some plants, and we're able to create this really cool. And you can see it's almost, I don't know if you guys play for those for those of you who play Fortnite, these are features that have been creeping into that game slowly but surely, because I watch my son playing Fortnite, and I'm like, I know these features I'm starting to see in the Unreal Engine. So it's almost like they test them out in Fortnite and then they bring them over here. But now you can see the river looking so beautiful, flowing. You can increase the speed. This is so cool. And I was able to do the material where I painted around the shores of the banks of the river to make it look wet, and the rest of it is just a little bit of grass and some dirt. But that's what I wanted to share with you guys. And we can actually, let's go to the direct light and adjust the camera, the direction of where it's coming from, so that we can get a different lighting look. So depending on what you're trying to achieve, you can get some shadows, and you can see how the refraction of the shadows, and even as the shadows go into the water, you can see it looking so cool. All right, guys, I think I hope this gives you an idea of what you can achieve using the new water body system, and I can't wait for this to become like a final feature. This is so cool. This is really, really cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks again for joining me today. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're alerted when I post a new video. I can't wait to see what you guys create with this feature, with the new water body feature, the lake and the river. Thank you, Epic Games, for making these tools for us and making it possible for us to create bring our ideas to life. This is just so cool and helpful. Thank you so much. See you next time with another tutorial by the rivers of Babylon. All right, that wraps up our tutorial. See you again next time, guys. That's what was exciting to me, and I hope you guys get a chance to play with it as well. Bye for now.